Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Collecting Dust, my show here on IGTV on at The Nothing Pod, The Nothing Podcast's official Instagram. And this week I thought I would show you, continuing on with, of course, my giant collection of stuff, some exclusive things. Some things that were limited. I cannot promise you that the origin of the years in which they were limited to are going to be correct. I'm going to make assumptions, and you'll see this thing here below me will correct me if I'm wrong. We'll tell you what year they were really exclusive to, and probably make fun of me in the meantime. So, let's get started. So this week, well, not this week, 2 weeks ago, the new series on Showtime, Penny Dreadful, City of Angels, came out, and I thought I would show you some of my Penny Dreadful stuff, which has to be exclusive because how specific. That show came out, I think I had read it had almost been 5 years since it ended, or 4 years since it ended, which is crazy to me. But right after the first season, they released a collection of characters. For those of you who don't know, it's a show that takes place in like the Victorian age, and it sort of reimagines what we know of some of the best literary villains and monsters. So Dracula, Frankenstein, this sort of an Alan Quatermain type character. If you're thinking League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, you are exactly right. That's what the show was. But they released only to Comic-Con a collection of figures that are admittedly not very well made. For Penny Dreadful. There was a whole set of them. I have 1, 2, 3, there's 6 of them. And they were very hard to come by because they were only released, you can get them online, I think it was Entertainment Earth, could be wrong, and you can get them online, but really they were sold in relation to the con of that year. And I love the show. And as I mentioned on my episode of the podcast a couple weeks ago, I love taking different IPs and putting them together, which first of all is what Penny Dreadful is. And they're the same size as a bunch of the other figures I have. Long story short, I wanted to get them all. So I have them all. And I will show them to you. So this is Vanessa Ives. This is Dr. Victor Frankenstein. Looks pretty much like him. This is Caliban, aka Frankenstein's monster, which is very cool. And if you look under his face, which you probably can't see, it's actually crazy dusty in there, but that's his face. This is, I can't remember his name. This is the Alan Quatermain type character. It ended 5 years ago. I don't remember his name. Drop the hat. This is Ethan Chandler, who, spoiler alert, becomes Wolfman. And this is Dorian Gray, whose arm has been plaguing me since the moment I took it out of the box. They don't stand well, and when they stand, their pieces fall off. But I love them. I think they're really cool. And it's just a cool kind of thing to have. It's a very specific kind of thing to have in my collection. I love them, even if they fall apart. So, another thing that tends to be exclusive, especially to cons, is Pops. People love exclusive Pops. I talked about Pops a bit last week. But I have a couple of really cool ones that I think you'll like. I picked out 3. So, this is HR Puff and stuff. Still in the box. You'll notice these are all still in the box because they're so exclusive. I decided I'd keep them in the box. Even though many people don't know this, Pops, if you take them out of the box, do not lose their value because they're never sealed. If you throw the box away and you can't put it back in the box, you're going to have a real hard time selling it. But as long as you keep the box and the plastic insert that comes with it, you can always put it back in the box. Which Danielle's eyebrows just went up because she realized we have a bag of pop boxes, but we don't have the inserts. So what the hell does it matter? Why are we keeping those boxes? I'm going to throw them out right after this, I think. But so this is HR Puff and stuff. You see it comes with the magic whistle there. This was a 2019 Summer Convention exclusive. Now what they will do is they will do shared exclusives at Funko. So what they will do, you can get it if you're on the show floor and you get a raffle ticket to get in there and get a pop in the convention. Otherwise, you can try your hand at getting it at a shared retailer. Barnes & Noble, Hot Topic, Walmart, GameStop. They're hard to get. The hardest of which to get are the ones from FunkoShop.com, which I mentioned last week. You have to be there. Say it goes on sale at 10 a.m., 10:01, they're completely sold out. And you can't get them for more than, you got to spend $60, $70 to get them. HR Puff and stuff, I got last year. I ordered him them literally within the first minute he was available. He then sold out right away. He was gone right away. They have since made a gold version of this. Not real gold, but a gold HR Puff and stuff because Sid and Marty Krofft, who invented HR Puff and stuff and a couple other characters that you would know and probably creeped you out as a kid, they got their star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And when they did that, Funko just opened a new store in Hollywood, and for that day only, they sold an exclusive gold HR Puff and stuff, which is very cool, and I almost bought on eBay 2 weeks ago. This is Figment, my favorite Disney Parks character. He represents Epcot. He's in a pop protector, not because I care about protecting the box, but because it came with him. This was an exclusive to the Disney Parks. You can only get it there for a very limited amount of quantity. They sold him online, which Disney Parks tends to do, but then they're gone. They have since made another Figment. There's Chef Figment, which represents the Food and Wine Festival. I'm hoping they'll make an art Figment with like a palette to represent the arts festival that we went to last year. I did not get Chef Figment. I might get the other one. I don't know. So this Figment, you see it says Disney Parks exclusive. I bought him standing at the fountain. Danielle, help me out. What's that fountain in Italy? The one where you throw the coins over you?
Trevi Fountain.
At the Trevi Fountain. So we were in Italy, and, they say don't take out your wallet, don't take out your money, keep your stuff very close to you when you're in Italy, because there's a lot of pickpockets. Don't have your information out there. So what I decided to do was, at one of the biggest tourist locations in Italy, at the Trevi Fountain, I pulled out my credit card, stopped dead in my tracks, and had to order Figment in order to get it. What was I going to do? Danielle was not thrilled with that, because I had literally was punching in my information. Literally, it was the moment we walked through the alleyway. We had seen the Trevi Fountain, and I immediately was head down in my phone ordering. So it took a little of the magic out. But I got Figment, which is cool, I guess. Cooler than a memory. So, and this is Flocked Jeffrey the Giraffe. He's fuzzy, flocked, which I talked about last week. Only at Toys R Us, which does not exist anymore. It exists in like Canada, and I guess there are still some Toys R Us exclusives that you can get in Canada, but not nearly as much as when it was here. This Jeffrey the Giraffe came out unrelated to the concept that they were closing indefinitely Toys R Us. He was a Funko Shop exclusive. I wasn't going to get him. And then once Toys R Us was closing, and they announced that, I said, oh, well, I'm getting that Flocked Jeffrey, obviously. So, will he be worth money someday? Likely. Is he in mint condition? Yes. Is he in a collector sleeve? Yes. By choice. I got a collector sleeve with another one that I didn't care as much about, and I put Jeffrey in there because he could be worth money someday. Not that I look to sell anything. I'm not a collector who sells, but, The last one I will show you is actually something from last week's episode about the Palisades Muppets. So we talked Funko 2 weeks ago. If I said last week at any point here, it was 2 weeks ago. Trust me. You're losing it. Last week we talked about Palisades Muppets, and I will show you something. So I told you the story about Palisades, that they went bankrupt in 2006 when they were really just starting to finish up the Muppet line. They finished up the Muppet line, and they announced that they were going to do a Sesame Street line. They were going to start Sesame Street, which was really cool. Also, not too many people know this, at the time they were starting up Sesame Street, they were also starting up Muppet Babies and Fraggle Rock. The prototypes are available. You can see them. They never got made. So to announce that Palisades was making Sesame Street figures, they released their first one, which was Super Grover. And here he is. The Palisades Super Grover. He came with a phone booth, which I have, a disguise of a jacket and tie, and a interchangeable head where he did not have the helmet on, so he could be in disguise as Grover and not Super Grover. And so they released this, and they put it on tour with the convention circuit. So you could get it if you went to a convention at any point in 2006. They were limited available to whatever convention you were at. Needless to say, very rare. I did not get it at the time, but people knowing who I am and knowing what I love, I did receive it as a gift. The best part about receiving it as a gift, it was ordered on eBay, I believe within the grounds of $100, maybe a little more. The best part about it is that it did not come in the box. If it had come in the box, it would still be in the box. But as I mentioned, I love getting things out of the box because that means that I don't have to worry about guilt when I open them. So I lucked out here. This Grover was given to me as a gift, but an out-of-box gift, which is perfect. And I love him, and every time I look at him, it makes me angry that they did not make the Palisades Sesame Street set. The first set would have been Grover, Cookie Monster, the Two-Headed Monster, Guy Smiley, and Oscar. And it would have come with a play set of Big Bird's Nest and with a Jumbo Muppet, a Mega Muppet as they're called, of Big Bird. And then there's Series 2 prototypes of Elmo and the Count. And they're incredible. They're so cool. And for $1,000, you can get the prototypes on eBay. You can get the black and white, the gray mold prototypes. There's rumors that they exist mint on cards somewhere in full color. I don't know. It's really upsetting that they never made them, but the fact that I have this Grover is very cool. And he's definitely one of my favorites in the Palisades set. But I felt he belonged in this exclusives episode and not with the other Muppets. So those are some of my exclusives. Just some. And let's take you inside and I'll show you some exclusive movies. All right, so while we're on the trend of exclusives for this week, I tried to think of some movies that were either really rare or really hard to come by, and I realized, of course, region-exclusive Blu-rays. For those of you who watch the show, you know that some movies won't play in some countries. Blu-rays and DVDs are divided by region. So there's region A, B, and C, and B won't play in region A, and A won't play in region B. Some of them are multi-region, which you come across now more often than not because of the collector culture and trading, and people want, all over the world. But you need to have a region-free player that'll play all three regions, which I have. And the reason I have that is because I started collecting region-exclusive Blu-rays because I like the artwork. I'm a steelbook collector. A lot of the time, a steelbook Blu-ray will have really cool art, and overseas they tend to have even cooler art. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's got something to do with the artistic culture, and I have no clue. But either way, if I see something overseas that I like, I'll order it, whether I can watch it or not. And for the longest time, I couldn't watch them. But what eventually pushed me to get a region-free player was the last one on this list, which you will see. So I have 4 region exclusive Blu-rays. I believe they are all region B, which is Europe, Australia, I believe. Could be wrong about that. This is Paddington 1. I have not seen this movie. I've seen bits of it. It's very cute from what I've seen. I loved the fact that it looked like a travel book or a suitcase. Now, what sold me on this one was the inside. That it actually looks like Paddington's suitcase. Even the disc art is specifically just his hat. You got jars of marmalade, things like that. I love when they give in the extra work to color the disc art. You know, it's very easy for them to take the same disc and throw it in. But when they put in the extra work, it's really appreciated. I have also now the Addams Family. This is the original Addams Family, the Raul Julia one. Love this movie. It's a classic. But the fact that they had Cousin It, who's my favorite character. There he is. Cousin It, my favorite Addams Family character. I'm a big Addams Family fan. I love everything. The new movie that just came out was really, really, really cute. The animated one, I loved it. So when I saw this, I was like, I had to get it. First of all, a steelbook of the Addams Family in general I was going to get, but this one's really cool. And look, it's even got Cousin It there on the disc. And then it's got Thing there. Thing, who actually is one of the only characters who's played by the same actor for the most consistent Addams Family movies. It's a magician. I don't remember his name, but he was cast because he's good with his hands. And they used him fairly consistently, always as Thing, which is really interesting. I have The Rocketeer, which this was a German exclusive. I loved this artwork. If you haven't seen Disney's The Rocketeer, it's really good. I had not seen it when I bought the movie, but I saw the artwork and I said I needed to have it. It was just so cool. There it is. See, this one's actually region free. You see it has A, B, and C. That means it's it'll play on all regions. But I just love this exclusive artwork. I think it's so cool. And it's really hard to come by now. All of these are. All of these steelbooks, you get them when they're available, and then they're gone. So that's that. But the one that caused me to buy a region-free Blu-ray player was this, which is Super Mario Brothers, the movie. Anybody who knows me, my friend Mark especially knows, we share a love for this movie. I love this movie. I think it's an underrated movie. And anybody could try to fight me on what's good about it, and I will convince you you're wrong. It's a great movie. And this movie is not available on Blu-ray in the United States. I don't know why. It was available in Australia for the longest time. Then they released this as a UK exclusive, and on here are all sorts of special features, a new documentary, a bunch of behind-the-scenes making-of stuff. And for some reason, they just didn't produce it in the US. I don't know why. And then the fact that it's a steelbook, of course I had to get it. And here's the inside. Nothing special about the disc. But of course, the classic elevator scene. Classic, you know. Go down in the annals of history. Great movies. But I love this movie. And I love this artwork. And it's got a little bomb on the back. Very cute. Yeah. Listen, when it comes to bad movies, right, you gotta lean into them. And the more you lean into them, the better the movie gets. This movie's great. So, yeah, I have a bunch more region-free ones. Maybe I'll show you another couple one day. I definitely know of one that I did not pull out. I don't want to pull out now because maybe I'll use it another day. But, yeah, so those are some exclusives. And I'll see you next week.